turned it over, So getting to go from that to Alex Smith in Kansas City was incredible. I mean, that offense eats up 11 minutes at a clip. So it was, and you knew he wasn't going to turn the football over. You knew he was going to make the plays he needed to make. He was going to get first downs, that you were going to be able to rest, that you were going to be able to look at the plays and study what your opposing offense was doing. That gives you a ton of confidence. Having Patrick Mahomes and that offense, I don't know what that's like. I mean, I would do whatever the hell I wanted to do because, who cares? They can get up 24 points and our offense could catch up in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Do whatever you want. Blitz everybody. I mean, take shots. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it's like to have a talent like that at quarterback with the offensive line and the skill position that you have. And not to mention Dave Tobe's special teams that are also gonna get your back on all these situations. I might have had 10 sacks just because I would have pass rushed every play. Run the football. Who cares? Run as many times as you want. We're going to score in 10 seconds. I don't know. I wish I would have got an opportunity to play on an offense like that, but I'm sure those guys can just get out there and have confidence and let it hang loose, knowing that their offense can, again, score 30 points in 25 seconds.
Have you talked to Alex Smith since the accident, or much since then? And that was the little documentary they did on his rebuilding year of his leg was pretty emotional and one of the top rated things for the wrong reasons, obviously. But it was that was quite a brutal accident.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Alex. I should reach out to him. I'm sure I'm sure he's hard to get in touch with. He probably has everybody calling him, but. That documentary really gave you insight into the type of person that he is. And I think everybody knew it, and you saw the competitor that he was, and you saw the humility even at the quarterback position. Really, Kansas City 2 in a row now with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. One of the things I find so impressive about those guys is they're incredibly humble and hardworking, and you don't always get that at the quarterback position. And so, but it gave you some insight in the type of man he is. And the type of person he is behind the scenes. And so Alex is just one of the, just top-notch best guys I've ever been around, and grateful for the opportunity to play with him. And you see the competitive nature that he has. I mean, I don't know what the extent of that injury is going forward, but if anybody can get back from that, he can.
Well, and that was a great locker room. I mean, from the offensive standpoint, from the quarterback standpoint, back in that era, you had, Chase Daniel, Mizzou guy, big popular guy there, backup role, done well. Have you been on his podcast yet? But anyway, I mean, Chase was a great guy too. Yeah, Chase is the best. I haven't been on there, man, but I need to shoot him a text and say, hey, man, get me on. But he has all the superstars on there. So I think I'd be at the end of the line on that podcast. But Chase is, you're right. I mean, to have a backup quarterback like him, another leader in the locker room, and that's saying something with a backup quarterback, but somebody that the guys all looked up to. The way Chase approached the game, even knowing that he probably wasn't going to get in, I mean, he approached every game like he was the starting quarterback. And if you looked at his notebook, I mean, he would have detailed notes, all these 3-ring binders full of pages of notes, getting ready for the game, and he would know the defense he was playing inside and out. And the chances of him getting in were obviously very slim. But he takes his role seriously, and I think that's why, again, I saw another meme pop up on Twitter about how, he started 5 games and he's made $50 million or something. Because he's a true professional and a guy that takes the game incredibly seriously and is a leader in the locker room, even at the backup quarterback position, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, and, I mean, that's what you want in your backup quarterback. You want a guy that, as a player, that you can rally around if something does happen to your starter. But, at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Sometimes they say that the most popular guy in town is the backup quarterback. But he's a backup for a reason. So, it's good to hear you talk about that and that locker room. And, you and those other veterans on defense, we know were huge keys to rebuilding this organization and getting to the level to where, we could win the Super Bowl this year, and we're a play away from going the year before.
I saw something, I forget who tweeted or put it out on Facebook. One of the media guys was saying that this could be the next Last Chance documentary, kind of like the Bulls with the Chiefs. They could be the next one to fill this role with how, Mahomes is not easy to play for. I mean, he gets mad. He'll get in your face like Jordan did. Some similarities there, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, that's an interesting comparison. I think in this, I don't know about that. I don't know about that part. I would have to pay more attention to that. But I think it could be in the sense that if this team can keep this group of guys together, I just don't know who can stop them. I mean, you really have Patrick Mahomes to show you he's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, if not the greatest. I mean, if there's anybody that can take over Tom Brady's spot, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's proven that he could be the guy that does that. And so I think you really are, barring any injuries or any kind of free agent or guys getting lost in free agency, which Kansas City has always done a great job. I mean, since Andy Reid has been there, keeping that locker room fairly similar, keeping the same guys there because he recognizes that cohesiveness and how important it is to keep the locker room similar if you can. If you can keep all those guys together, even if you keep 2 or 3 of those guys every year with Mahomes,
yeah,
I don't see who's beating them. I just don't know who can beat them.
How many more years do you think Andy's got left now? I mean, before Patrick, probably not as many, but how many? I mean, he could go forever now.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think when you got Patrick Mahomes, you don't leave that. I mean, I think you stay as long as he's playing, you stay unless something happens off the field or there are other circumstances that would cause him to retire. Andy Reid loves the game of football. I mean, this is a guy that goes to bed at 1:00 and is in the facility at 4 a.m.
I remember
first guy in, the last guy to leave, and he's the most important guy in the building. So he loves the game of football. Outside of anything crazy happening outside of the locker room, outside of that facility, you got Patrick Mahomes. I think you stay right there. I mean, I can't imagine why he would want to leave.
Well, I don't know if you were here or remember whenever there was a death out in the parking lot. Some guy got in the wrong car and got beat up and died, and it was the whole place was shut down because one exit out of Arrowhead was down. And I was sitting there waiting on my wife to get in because I rode in with somebody else to come pick me up, and she couldn't get in. So I was sitting there talking to the sheriffs, and they're like, if Andy doesn't hurry up and get out of here, we're going to leave him because that is Andy. He does not get out of there until late.
It's so true. I mean, when I say it, it's honestly, he leaves the facility late, and he'll get in at 4:30 in the morning. I mean, he loves the game of football, and he's going to be there getting ready for whatever it is he needs to get ready for. And as a player, that's really motivating. When your coach is in there all day, every day, it's easy to say, hey, we got to put in the extra effort because, the coaching staff from the top down is doing that. So we got to go out there and play for these guys because they're giving us everything they got. And so, again, another one of those things that Andy Reid leads by example in his philosophy, the way that trickles down to the rest of the organization that plays a major factor in their success.
So let's transition now and talk about the schedule. It was released last Thursday evening to our nationwide audience. As a player, what was kind of the first thing you started to look at as you got the schedule?
You always look at the opening game. I think that's the one that you're going to spend the most time talking about. Now, those guys aren't in OTAs right now. They're not together as a team, and so maybe not as much. But that first game on the schedule, that's big. That's what everybody's looking at that game, And so training camp becomes about getting prepared for that game. The summer is about preparing for that game. OTAs is about preparing for that game. I mean, you'll take time just to prep for Houston. And so you look at that first game and you say, okay, that's the kickoff. That's the kickoff game. That's a game we're going to be ready for. And everybody knows about how important it is to start the season off fast. I mean, when you look at the statistics about teams that go 0-1, 0-2, their relative chances of getting to the playoffs after losing, the first two, they start dropping significantly. And so starting the season fast and winning that opening game, especially a opener in prime time against Houston, that's an awesome way to kick off the season. So you're going to be looking at that game, chomping at the bits, getting ready to play Houston and get the season going in the right direction. And you're also looking at when the bye week is. I'm not sure. I'm looking now when their bye week is.
Week 10.
You want to pay attention?
10.
What week is it?
Week 10.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You want that thing as far to the end as you can get, because that way you get re-upped and you're feeling good going into that last part of the season. The last thing you want is that thing week 4, week 5. That's not a great time to have a bye week. So you look at that, and then you're studying the teams that you don't normally play, right? So this year they got the NFC, the Bucks playing the Saints, playing the Panthers. Those guys, you're going to start looking at those teams that you don't normally get a chance to play and see, okay, what are these teams made out of? What do their rosters look like? But outside of that, it's really week 1 and the bye week that you're looking at as, the most important things that you're focusing on when the schedule comes out.
Okay. So, do we want to go ahead and get to it? Go ahead and start breaking down this Chiefs schedule right now?
Yeah. Let's do it.
You ready?
Oh, Jim's throwing up a graphic here.
Thanks to the NFL Network.
Look at thanks to NFL Network.
With the, it looks like, is that just the last 3 times they played the Texans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Starting 2018 and 19 and 2020.
Okay. So Houston won 17-10, 31-24, and then we remember fondly the 51-31 game just last year in the playoffs.
Yeah. Wait a minute. 2018. I don't remember that 17-10 game.
Well, I don't think the NFL Network's wrong.
So,
wait.
Well, that's the last 3 times. Obviously September 10th, the Chiefs open in prime time. The NFL continuing the tradition of the Super Bowl champions opening the season on a Thursday night in prime time. So, Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
This is an important game as a player because it's hard to mimic the speed of a regular season game, and especially the first game. The first game plays very much like a playoff game. The game is very fast. And so this is a game where you're going to want to look at your rookies, your young guys that are in pivotal spots to see, okay, how do they play under the lights when things are going full speed? So that's the one thing you're paying attention to. Like I said before, you got to start fast. And this is a great game to do it. You're at home in Arrowhead against a team that I guarantee you knows that you scored, remembers that you scored 24 points against them in 10 seconds. And they're, I think this is a team that you can get them down quick. If you get up on them, this is a team that's going to fold because that's got to still hurt. And they can say, well, we're going to use it as motivation. But I think that's one of those soul-snatching statistics. Like, this team is just too good. And so look for them, obviously for Houston to come in and want to start fast, but you're at home with that same Super Bowl championship team that you had last year. And, looking to start a season out fast. I think Kansas City comes out and just romps these guys. I mean, they get up 1 or 2 scores, and I think this team will pack it in because a lot of the guys will recognize and remember from the year before the type of explosive offense that they're going against.
No, I love that. I love that take. I mean, I think that the Texans. I don't know what's going on with them right now. O'Brien's kind of made some questionable decisions as far as some of their personnel, with D-Hop getting traded for David Johnson, and just some of the other stuff going on. So yeah, I mean, I think coming in Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs will come out ahead on this. I don't know if they're gonna beat them that bad. We'll see. The Texans for me are a really good team just because Watson. And I actually do think Bill O'Brien's a good coach. As general manager, I'm not sure. But I do think Chiefs come out ahead on this season opener, and the crowd's going to be insane. It's going to be like, the crowd is going to be like, it's going to be a top 10 crowd that you've ever been to if you can make it to this game.